And now back to that issue of employment. A story broke this afternoon that the number of benefits claimants who have never had to work has hit a staggering 4 million. Deven Ghelani, the Director of Policy and Practice and one of the architects of Universal Credit, joins me now. Deven, great to have you on the show. This number of 4 million, and looking at the graph, which goes scooting up over the last couple of years, is really worrying, is it not? I mean, it means there's a huge army of people who have never worked, who are going to have to be looked after by society for a long time to come.
It absolutely is. I mean, I think the statistic refers to those people who don't have to look for work at the moment.
Yeah.
And I checked just now, when we had legacy benefits before Universal Credit rolled out, it peaked at sort of, feels like about 3.3 million when you add up the kind of the core groups. I only had a couple of minutes to do the work before jumping on. So it is a big jump. It's not just people moving from the old style benefits onto Universal Credit. It is more people getting sicker, saying they're unable to work, applying for health-related benefits and getting access to them. So I do think there is this long-term question, which we need real answers to now, not further inquiries, not further research, not kind of more work is required to figure out the answer to. We need action now to stop people from ending up in that position, because you started your interview with Michael Gove talking about the impact of people, particularly young people, who don't get into work straight away, and how much harder they find it later on. I think it's much easier to keep people in work and staying active than it is to try and get them into work once they've been out of work for a couple of years.
And so, Deven, in your view, does that mean that politicians have to jump right now back into the welfare controversy and remove benefits from large numbers of people who have got, for instance, relatively moderate, in the Tory word, mental health problems?
I would put two things ahead of that. I think the first thing you need is an economy that's growing, so jobs are there. I think a lot of people there are trying to work and are struggling to find work. If you talk to young people, they're being outcompeted by people who are a couple of years older, because the labour market for entry-level roles has softened, right? And what we need is a budget in the next couple of years that is in the next couple of days, weeks, that is job creating. That's probably the first thing that we need. The second thing we need is, I think, support to help people who are at risk of falling out of the workplace or have just fallen out of the workplace to get back into work as quickly as possible. They want to do that on the whole, but I don't think the support system is there. And actually what you're seeing is inquiry after inquiry saying this is how the system needs to be reformed, without the action to do it. And I think it's the action to do it that we need to see now in this parliament. And then subsequently, the end result, if we do not do anything about it, and we do see the number of people getting the support going up and up, is you do have a question of what do we choose to spend our money on? And that is a very difficult question for the Chancellor to have to answer. It'd be better if we didn't have to answer in the first place.
Some people argue that the minimum wage for younger people, it's not exactly very high, but is already too high and should be cut. What do you think about that?
I think it's the differential that matters, right? So I was just talking to literally a colleague of mine who's got a 16-year-old who's looking for work, and he's up against not 18, 19-year-olds, up against 28, 32-year-olds, right? So you're up against, employers are going to prefer people who have had a little bit of work experience in the past, where you don't have to sort of, they can't work on the alcohol till because they're too young, for example. I think we need to go back, and it's shocking almost how far we've come from a place where probably, I don't know about you, but certainly I started work at 16 in Woolworths. Work experience was kind of the done thing. It was like an objective of ways to help young people into work.
Potato fields of East Scotland, in my case, but yeah.
There you go, like a civic responsibility on the employer, but also on the young person to go out and start doing that work. And I think we've moved away from that as, work experience is no longer required by schools. That would be a really important first step. For example, there are some quick fixes here, Andrew, I'd say.
All right, Deven Ghelani, thank you very, very much indeed for that tonight.